One spoonful of olive oil, seemingly harmless, can become the trigger for irreversible disorders if you are unknowingly suffering from the following health conditions. Hourglass not done. Today, we will break down 5 common health conditions in the elderly, where, when faced with them, consuming olive oil at the wrong time, or in the wrong way, is no longer a matter of is it beneficial or not, but rather a matter of health declining uncontrollably. Herb. Olive oil can be liquid gold, but if your body is in a state of imbalance and you force it in, you might very well be turning a supplement into a slow-burning biological fuse. Direct hit. Join me, from an expert's perspective, as we explore each condition logically, scientifically, and profoundly to help you understand not only when to use it, but also when to stop. Part 1. Olive oil. A golden medicine or a double-edged sword. Magnifying glass tilted left 1. Why is olive oil called liquid gold? For a long time, olive oil, especially extra virgin olive oil, EVO, has been scientifically confirmed as one of the healthiest fats on the planet, thanks to oleic acid, omega-9, a monounsaturated fatty acid that reduces inflammation and lowers LDL cholesterol, bad, while increasing HDL, good. Polyphenol, powerful antioxidants such as oleuropein and hydroxytyrosol, protecting cells from oxidative damage. Natural anti-inflammatory agents such as oleocanthal, which acts like ibuprofen at the cellular level. Numerous studies link regular olive oil consumption with reduced risk of cardiovascular diseases, protection of the brain from neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, stabilizing blood sugar levels, and supporting liver function. But, warning too, in the elderly, the body no longer responds like in your 30s or 40s. After the age of 60, the aging process affects fat metabolism organs comprehensively, making olive oil consumption, even if healthy, no longer a simple matter. Microscope specifically, pancreatic and liver function declines, less lipase and bile secretion fats are harder to emulsify and absorb effectively. Small intestine malabsorption, excess oil ferments by anaerobic bacteria produces metabolites that cause inflammation. Weaker gallbladder contractions, higher risk of bile congestion and gallstones when consuming fats frequently, especially at night. Gut microbiome imbalance, dysbiosis, increases intestinal permeability, leaky gut, allowing metabolic toxins from oil to enter the bloodstream. Light bulb meaning. Olive oil can become a trigger for a series of slow-burning reactions, leading to chronic inflammation, metabolic disorders, and cellular degeneration if used at the wrong time, in the wrong dosage. Counterclockwise arrows button 3. Olive oil is not bad, but the biological context must be understood correctly. Even the best substance is only effective when used on the right person, at the right time, and in the right way. For the elderly, the immune system is more likely to overreact, inflammaging. The body loses its ability to repair cellular damage. The nervous system and blood vessels are more sensitive to micro-damages caused by inflammation. When using olive oil improperly, for example, drinking 1 to 2 spoons before bed, using it without pairing with greens or fiber, pairing it with foods rich in sugar or refined carbohydrates. Instead of its anti-inflammatory effects, olive oil can become an internal inflammation agent. Brain 4. A new perspective from precision nutrition. Nowadays, many experts no longer recommend a one-size-fits-all approach. Olive oil is not bad, but each person needs a personalized nutrition strategy. For example, people with a history of chronic arthritis need to consume olive oil during the day, paired with other anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric, ginger. People with fatty liver or diabetes need to reduce total fat intake. Prioritize gently cooked olive oil instead of consuming it raw. People with digestive disorders should avoid consuming olive oil on an empty stomach. Olive oil is a gift from nature, but only if you understand how to communicate with your aging body. After 60, nutrition is not just about eating right, but about eating according to the reduced metabolic capacity. 1 spoonful of olive oil can be a supplement or a trigger for chronic inflammation, depending on how you use it. Part 2. Irreversible reactions. What's secretly happening with just 1 spoon of olive oil at night? DNA 1. Starting with the harmless oil dose. You are 70 years old. Before going to bed, you take a spoonful of olive oil because someone told you it helps detox the liver and smoothens the digestive tract. But after 60, your body is no longer the powerful laboratory it was at 30. Olive oil contains 100% fat, primarily oleic acid, omega-9, no fiber, no digestive enzymes from other foods to assist. This means your body has to work hard to process pure fat at a time when the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas are in a biological rest state. Warning 2. Excess fat, the source of chronic inflammation and inflammaging. When the digestive system lacks enough enzymes or bile to emulsify the oil is not fully absorbed, it accumulates in the intestines. Here, anaerobic bacteria begin fermenting it, producing lipopolysaccharides, LPS. LPS is a cellular toxin from gram-negative bacteria, extremely dangerous when it enters the bloodstream. In younger people, the gut barrier prevents LPS from entering. But in older adults, especially those with leaky gut syndrome, the protective gut barrier weakens and inflammatory particles like LPS enter the bloodstream. Firecracker 3. An aged immune system. Overreacting equals chronic inflammation. When LPS enters the bloodstream, it activates the innate immune system. The body releases a range of inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha, IL-6, CRP, C-reactive protein. These cause damage to microblood vessels, increase inflammation in the liver, brain, and joints, reduce insulin sensitivity, contributing to type 2 diabetes, damage nerve tissue, increasing the risk of Alzheimer's. Collision, and this is the irreversible reaction. Once the body enters a state of low-grade chronic inflammation, it silently persists for months, even years. Brain 4. Chronic inflammation, the silent killer of old age. Inflammation due to aging is one of the biggest causes of memory decline and brain function loss, unexplained polyarthritis, high cholesterol, and unstable blood pressure, increased cancer risk due to uncontrolled cell mutations, depression, insomnia, and chronic emotional disorders. It doesn't come right away, but it starts quietly, every night, from the smallest daily habits. DNA 5. Irreversible doesn't mean it can't be managed. Although irreversible in nature, we can slow down, control, or even calm the chronic inflammation process by stopping direct consumption of olive oil at night, pairing olive oil with fiber-rich foods to control absorption, supplementing probiotics and prebiotics to restore the gut barrier, limiting total fat intake, maximum 20% of total calories, using turmeric, green tea, curcumin, berries to neutralize free radicals. A spoonful of olive oil every night doesn't make an immediate difference. But for the elderly, it could be the straw that breaks the camel's back for an immune system that is already worn out. Chronic inflammation doesn't cause pain, but it's silently eroding your heart, brain, and even your fragile sleep. Understand it right to proactively prevent it. Because health isn't about tomorrow. It's about the very small decisions starting tonight. 3. Olive oil is not bad, but it needs to be understood in the right biological context. The essence of olive oil is good, but good for whom? In ideal conditions. Healthy individuals, good digestion, stable liver, pancreas, and gallbladder function, balanced gut microbiome. Backhand index pointing right. Olive oil is a superfood, anti-inflammatory, reduces blood lipids, increases lifespan, supports brain function. However, for the elderly, the internal biological environment has changed. Even a healthy substance can become a biological burden if not placed correctly in the context of the current metabolic state. Magnifying glass tilted left 2. Biological context, a key concept in modern medicine. Biological context means understanding the current functional state of each organ in the body and only consuming what that system is capable of processing efficiently. Real-life examples. Same olive oil, 35-year-old, 70-year-old. 1 tablespoon in the evening, well absorbed, supports gut, liver processing, can cause bloating, indigestion, and inflammation if gut leaks. Eaten with vegetables during the day helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins better, slows absorption, reduces inflammation risk. Used in cooking can withstand moderate heat risk of oxidative substances if repeatedly used in frying. Backhand index pointing right. Biological context determines the boundary between a tonic and a mild toxin. Warning 3. After age 60, the body can no longer process fat as before. Brain changes to understand. Aging liver, fewer enzymes, easier fat accumulation, difficulty detoxifying. Weakened gallbladder, reduced bile secretion fats are not emulsified well. Weakened pancreas, reduced lipase, fat digesting enzyme. Weakened gut mucosa, loosening protective barriers, leaky gut. Reduced beneficial microflora, increases toxins from undigested food. Backhand index pointing right, even though olive oil is good, if the digestive system can't cleanly process it, the excess can trigger inflammation. Firecracker 4. 1 tablespoon, but it becomes a trigger for the entire inflammatory system when the digestive system is weak. Excess oil fermented produces LPS toxins. LPS passes through the damaged gut barrier, enters the bloodstream. Triggers chronic inflammation, slowly damages brain cells, joints, heart, and blood vessels. Light bulb, this doesn't happen in healthy young people. But elderly individuals need to understand the body no longer processes everything unconditionally. Stethoscope 5. Experts recommend. Personalize every advice. There are no universally good foods. Only foods that fit your current biological state. Therefore, olive oil should be used during the day, alongside vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. Avoid consuming it directly, especially before sleep when digestive activity is slowing down. If you have liver, pancreas, or gut conditions, consult a nutritionist before adding any oil to your diet. Olive oil is not bad, but don't view food as a miracle pill. Consider it as a part of a complex biological system, one that changes every day. After 60, every dietary decision should be based on individual understanding, not trends. The cost of a mistaken habit is no longer a stomach ache, but an irreversible decline. Part 4. Why drinking olive oil at night can be more dangerous. Mantelpiece clock 1. The body follows a biological clock, and nighttime is the biological shutdown. The human body does not function randomly. Every organ has its own biological clock, controlled by the central circadian rhythm in the brain, nucleus suprachiasmatic. Backhand index pointing right, in the evening. The liver reduces detoxification activities. The pancreas reduces insulin secretion. The pancreas, gallbladder, and gut shift into sleep mode. Blood flow to the digestive system decreases, moving to the heart and brain. Digestive enzymes are greatly reduced. Consuming pure fats like olive oil at this time is like assigning a complex task to a factory on night shift. As a result, the oil is not broken down efficiently. Excess fermented produces toxins. Warning 2. Increased risk of digestive disorders and reverse fermentation. After 60, the lower esophageal sphincter weakens, easier acid reflux. Drinking olive oil before bed can cause persistent nausea, acid reflux, heartburn, stomach discomfort, difficulty sleeping due to undigested fats. Additionally, the excess oil that isn't processed becomes food for anaerobic gut bacteria, leading to reverse fermentation and LPS production, a potent inflammatory toxin. Brain 3. Triggering chronic inflammation when the brain needs recovery. At night, the body focuses on tissue repair, neural cell regeneration, and hormone balance. But with chronic toxins or mild inflammatory reactions from the gut, the brain must shift into alert mode, increased cortisol, stress hormone, insomnia, tossing and turning, light sleep. The risk. Reduced slow-wave sleep prevents brain cleanup, lymphatic clearance. Formation of beta-amyloid plaques, increased risk of Alzheimer's. This means drinking olive oil at night, which is meant to nourish, is actually hindering your brain's recovery, little by little each night. Broken heart 4. Increased risk of silent cardiovascular problems if overused. At night, the cardiovascular system relaxes and blood pressure naturally drops. But pure oil makes blood thicker temporarily, increases triglycerides post-meal, slows blood circulation. If combined with fluctuating blood pressure at night, increased risk of silent strokes, especially for those with underlying conditions. DNA 5. For the elderly, one wrong timing equals triggering a domino effect. Imagine A tablespoon of oil at the wrong time, incomplete digestion, toxin production, sleep disturbance, brain doesn't recover, increased inflammation, blood sugar imbalance, free radicals, increased chronic disease risk rises. And this cycle repeats every night. It's not what you eat, but when you eat it, that shapes your health in old age. Olive oil is not the enemy, but when introduced to the body while the digestive system is at rest, you're assigning a difficult task to a system that's already on a break. The cost you pay doesn't come from one instance, but from the repeated mistake over time. Part 5. So how should elderly people use olive oil correctly? Core principle. Olive oil is a supporting tool, not a cure-all. Olive oil is not a magic pill. It only delivers its value when used at the right time, in the right way, and by the right person. Mantelpiece clock 2. Use it in the day, especially at lunch. Why? Midday is when the liver, gut, and pancreas are most active. The digestive system is ready to process fats. At this time, olive oil can blend with food, helping absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, K. Backhand index pointing right suggestions. Mix 1 tablespoon of olive oil into boiled vegetables, warm soups, porridge, or oatmeal, making digestion easier. Green salad 3. Pair with fiber-rich foods to emulsify and control absorption. Fats are more easily digested when paired with soluble fiber from leafy greens, oats, chia seeds, flax seeds, sweet potatoes, mung beans. Herb benefits. Prevents overwhelming absorption, reduces pressure on the liver and pancreas. Limits blood fat increase after meals. Prevents inflammatory reactions from oxidized oil. Index pointing up 4. Recommended amount for the elderly. No more than 1 tablespoon/day. 1 tablespoon, around 10 to 15 milliliters, is the ideal dose for elderly individuals with stable digestion. For those with liver, pancreas, or diabetes issues, start with half a tablespoon and monitor reactions. Do not consume it directly, especially on an empty stomach or near bedtime. Counterclockwise arrows button 5. Prioritize cold-pressed extra virgin oil. Store correctly. Choose extra virgin, cold-pressed, unrefined, preserving antioxidants. Store in a cool place, avoid direct sunlight, and seal tightly after use. Do not heat this oil to high temperatures. It will lose its value and produce harmful substances. Prohibited 6. Avoid if you have the following conditions: chronic liver disease, hepatitis, fatty liver, cirrhosis. Why avoid or be cautious? The liver is the center for fat processing. After olive oil is absorbed by the gut, it is transported to the liver via the portal vein to be broken down. In chronic diseases, liver cells are inflamed, scarred, or fatty enzyme, and bile acid production significantly decreases. Olive oil, even though a good fat, still requires the liver to work harder to emulsify and convert it into energy. Backhand index pointing right result. Fat accumulation in the liver progresses liver disease faster. Increased toxin production, nausea, fatigue after consumption. Brain expert advice. With a weakened liver, each tablespoon of oil, no matter how small, is like adding pressure to a system that's already overloaded. Warning B. Pancreatitis, acute or chronic. Why avoid or be cautious? The pancreas produces lipase, the main enzyme to digest fats. When olive oil is consumed, the pancreas must increase enzyme secretion, which, in people with pancreatitis history, can trigger an acute flare-up. Additionally, olive oil increases gallbladder contractions, may lead to diffuse pancreatic spasms. Backhand index pointing right, potential consequences. Upper stomach pain, radiating to the back. Vomiting, diarrhea. In severe cases, recurrent acute pancreatitis, hospitalization required. Brain expert advice. Pure oil is like lighting a spark. If your pancreas is weak, don't play with fire. Warning C. Chronic diarrhea. Why avoid or be cautious? Olive oil has a natural laxative effect due to oleic acid and unsaturated fats. When the body is already dehydrated, adding oil to the gut can stimulate stronger bowel movements. Backhand index pointing right consequences. Worsens diarrhea. Causes absorption issues, especially fat-soluble vitamins. Loss of potassium, sodium, fatigue, cramps, arrhythmias in elderly individuals. Brain expert advice. If your digestive system is already struggling, don't add more oil to the gears that are already creaking. Warning D. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Why avoid or be cautious? IBS is after 60. There's no longer the concept of eating for pleasure or eating like when you were young. Everything you take in, even a small spoon of oil, can either be the golden key to health or the secret door leading to unexpected decline. Magnifying glass tilted left. As you just saw, liver, pancreas, intestines, stomach don't always welcome olive oil as a gift. Sometimes they're crying for help. And just one small mistake, your body will pay the price with insomnia, acid reflux, diarrhea, or a serious acute inflammation episode. Pushpin. Remember, food only truly becomes medicine when we understand our body. And understanding the body is the first step to living healthy, not just living long. Brain. If you found this information helpful, share it with loved ones, friends, anyone who thinks that olive oil is better in larger quantities. Because the right knowledge at the right time can be the remedy that saves the health of an entire family.